So we bought a house, an 1879 mansion in desperate need of love with a legendary and unique history and a community to match. In today's episode, project manager and designer Nikki Shearer will go in depth about where the shell of the Vahlkamp House started, what we plan to restore, and what we plan to renovate.
I want to go over what the house was like when it was purchased, what things are going to be restored, what things are going to be renovated, and then also a little bit of the nice juicy details on what we're deciding to put in and why. So let's start. So first things first is background. What did we start with? The day that Matt, Sheila, and I walked into the house for the first time, it was a cold day. I remember it. The front door was janky. We had to get the gate figured out. But once we opened the doors, it was, we knew something was special. When you walked into the house, the front staircase was missing its railing and some of the molding there. So the house had been split up into a duplex, and it could have been a duplex for 100+ years. We really don't know at this point. We're working on finding that out, but it had the 2 duplex doors, and then there was at some point a wall running through the middle to split up the staircase. The plaster had been ripped off on the interior walls in the hallway. And as you walked through, you could see that there was a lot of water damage. So the roof had been leaking, some windows weren't shutting all the way, or the storms were missing from the windows. So that meant that the plaster was molding, the plaster was falling off in chunks. Some of the woodwork could have been potentially damaged. The back staircase was in good shape. The newel post was missing a lot of pieces, but that back staircase hadn't been used and I don't know how long. It wasn't being used. The top had been covered up. So our thoughts is that we're missing the handrail in the front and we're missing some of the trim there. Why not reuse what was in the back for the front? And then that way we can make that space more manageable, because we're taking a house that was built 140 years ago when they didn't have indoor plumbing. Some of them may not have had indoor kitchens, and making it usable for a modern family. During the time it was a duplex, there was a kitchen that was added upstairs. We couldn't really see that until we removed a lot of the construction material, but as we were looking more around where the gas and where the plumbing was running to, and then we finally uncovered the kitchen sink, we knew that's not where we're gonna have a kitchen upstairs. So just trying to figure out what they had done with it and what we could work with. The house had no plumbing was hooked up. There was a lead line, but as we know, we can't have lead. Most of the wire in the house was knob and tube, which it's not that it's illegal to have it, it's just almost near to impossible to insure a property that uses knob and tube these days. So we knew it all had to be updated. The gasolier lines were still there. So there were a lot of gas lines that are run to places in the walls where there would have been sconces and they had been capped. So we can't go back with gas fixtures. So those have to be removed. The front cornice up at the top, it is actually in really good shape still. There's only a few missing pieces, but it's been chewed away by squirrels and other animals and birds over the years. So we know we have to do some repairs to that. But really it's going to be replacing a few wood pieces, scraping it, and then repainting it. So the exterior of the house is brick. The owners before us had tuck pointed one whole side, which was amazing. And then they had also taken the downspouts where they had been removed from probably about 10 to 16 feet above grade, and they used black tubing essentially to be able to run the water down, which actually is saving the house, because all of that water isn't now rushing off on the side of the house. It's going into what was the sewer, but the sewer slipped or broke or something. So all of that water that was coming in, we had a torrential downpour of rain. all of the water that came in slipped it, huge sinkhole. Who knows how long it had been like that. So we knew we had to reroute that. The valuable pieces that were in really good shape. So as we walked through the house, when we first looked at it, we saw the fireplaces. So the 5 fireplaces, only one of them has a missing piece. One of them seems to be sinking a little bit. That's on the 2nd floor in one of the bedrooms. And then the hearth has been cracked on that one, and then maybe another one, I think, in the dining room. Those are just gonna be cleaned, fixed. We have a stone guy that will help fix that. I do believe we are gonna try to make 2 of them operable. One of them used to have a gas insert in the front parlor. We're gonna try to put another one back in there and then put another one in the dining room. The windows. There are approximately 30 windows, if not more. Some are in decent shape, some are still operable, although they're a little squeaky and they're a little hard to pull back down. The ones that are in the worst shape are in the basement. And we really wanted to save those windows. They've been a part of the property for 140 plus years. So as we looked at them and as we talked with the window guy, we realized that they're salvageable. The things that will be replaced on that are the storms, except for the half round ones. Those will be a wooden storm. All the other ones are going to be aluminum. But they're gonna last another 100 years as long as they're taken care of. So the woodwork, the 13-inch tall woodwork on the baseboards, and then around all the door jambs and windows, it's 9 inches wide, and it is layered with a few pieces, but it's immaculate, it's beautiful. In some places it's painted, but that can all be scraped either, if Matt decides he wants to go back and paint them again with a better coat, or if he wants to stain them, we can do that too. That's kind of a down the road decision. I think in some areas we may try to keep them white and bright where they've already been painted that. But that trim everywhere is really in good shape, and most of it is there. So we are going to reuse what we can. We're gonna move it around as some doorways go away and as we add in other things. But I do think we also have a contact of someone who can recreate it as well. So any place, if we run out of it, we're gonna try to recreate it and put it back in. The doors. So obviously those beautiful pocket doors are staying. Those will just be cleaned up, some of the stickers removed, resealed if it needs to be resealed, and left alone. They need to be there. A lot of the other doors that have that faux burl wood in it, it's just a matter of cleaning them, making other repairs. Bedroom doors need to be able to lock and unlock, so we're gonna have to make sure that we get correct knobs and the correct hardware for that. We will try to find old, as long as it's usable, and reuse it. If not, there are places where you can get recreations done that are fairly affordable as well. And the transoms. So there's some transoms, like in this office, that are still existing. That's part of the cooling system back in the day, is all of your heat would rise, and then you would open those up to circulate it straight out the door. So we're gonna keep those. They're just fun. We don't need them anymore. We're putting in an HVAC system with air conditioning. So it's not needed, but it's great too because it brings in light through the house as well. And they're just a fun little feature to have. So things that are going to be restored, so things that are already existing that we are going to work on mending, fixing, and using in the house. The medallions, so the plaster medallions, we want to reuse them through demo. 2 of them, one of them was damaged, and then the other one is starting to slip now. So what the plan is that we are going to scan them and then 3D print them. So that way we can make a 3D printed mold, or we can 3D print them themselves. That way it's lighter. Those medallions weigh a lot. It's a lot of plaster. So the thought is that if we were to bring them down, clean them up, and put them back up, the fear is if they fall again. So what we've decided to do, since Caleb came over and kind of talked to us about it, which is in another episode, we're considering putting them up on the wall as art. And so that way we can showcase them and people can get much closer to them. They'll be right on the wall versus up in the ceiling where you can't see all of the fine detail. The trim, again, we're gonna clean it, replace anything that is damaged with what we already have, and then if we need to, we'll recreate it. And same thing with the doors, clean, do all of that. The floors. So in the front hallway, about half of the hardwood floors are missing. I don't know why. My guess is wear and tear. My guess is water damage, but it's hard to know. In other areas of the house, it's been water damage. So you can see some of the demo guys have fallen through part of the floor during the process. So what we're gonna do is salvage some in some areas. So the front hallway, we're gonna go in with a nice tile. So we'll salvage the hardwood that's in there, salvage it in other areas that will be turned into tile surfaces, lace it in, and then sand it, and then just, you know, I think we're gonna stain it a darker color because they have been painted over the years as they used to do. When they would have rugs, they would only paint that border because paint was expensive. So they would paint on the outside of the rugs. So we'll see how that all will turn out. I have a feeling that it'll be stained a little darker and then resealed. But we have to keep the floors. They're so unique and they're just, again, they've been there, so why not? Okay, so things that are being renovated. So things that are being brought up to modern standards and things that we could not salvage. So the first thing is the plaster walls had to come down. They were molding, they were falling down in pieces, and that's something that for the safety of Matt's family, we had to make sure that we removed the plaster all the way. It will be also easier to maintain throughout the years, and it's lighter. This house, although it's shifting a little bit in the middle, which we can support it a whole lot better, but this house it'll be lighter for the house. So we're not gonna have settling issues later on down the road. Not that it hasn't now, but we're gonna prevent it in the future. The kitchen. So not sure if the house originally had an interior kitchen. Sometimes they had outdoor kitchens because it would be too hot to cook in the summer. Here in St. Louis, it can get up to 105 degrees, no problem. You don't really want to have a stove going in your house when you don't have air conditioning. So we will, and there is no kitchen really existing at this point. I can guess where it used to be, and we're going to put it back in that area. And I'll go more over on some design considerations for that kitchen, but we're gonna try to keep it very of the period, but modernize it a little bit. The floors, so some of the floors are missing. And so we're gonna go back over, we're gonna choose nice marble tile floors in the front hallway. And like we talked about in the first episode, trying to do something very Roman with a Harlequin kind of marble tile finish, potentially bring that into the kitchen or doing more of a slate thing in the kitchen. And then upstairs in the primary bathroom doing a tile. But we're trying, in the sake of reusing things, we're gonna make sacrifices here and then we're gonna use it to our design advantage.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our 3D digital design tour walkthrough.